starting a
All
new
I'm gonna have to
journey.
do is stare at those goofy glasses. You
Good.
need to get good ones. Like, what are they? Did you get those
Those
at
are Ray
TJ
Bans.
Maxx?
Ray Ban.
I think they're knockoffs.
Tell Jill that they're Ray Ban because she can't hear me.
No.
This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 101 of The Real Word.
Word is up. Ooh, that was a good one.
That was a good one. Even from all the way over here,
No
I
one
would
wants
agree
to know
that's
where
a
you
good one.
are. No one wants to know where you
I'm
are.
I'm gonna take these off though because I do agree
Yeah,
that
please
the D bag factor goes way up the
do.
longer I wear these.
We'll leave
So
it
I don't know if I can
permanent.
say that in the real word. I don't know if we've got a couple of good. We got a little new twist here on the real word. We're testing out for the first time Wirecast, so we can do this split screen show. We can make this better. We can improve on this. I think we can get better audio.
Absolutely.
Well, you've got your mic. I've got a mic that
I do.
seems to be
It's
working good.
I hope it's close enough that everyone can hear me. But oh gosh,
The
are we gonna have to hear your phone too, or is that my phone?
that's probably yours or Jill's or whoever's in the room with you. My phone is on airplane mode as all right, we're back. It's like we're going back in time right now because we're at episode 101 and you think we'd have all our stuff figured
Yeah, I
out,
feel like
all
at
our
100
technical
it reverts
background.
back. It reverts back to one. So
It is reverting back. We're like mismanaging the mics and the audio and the visual, and then I'm operating off a hotspot right here. I took Nicole's
by
feedback
choice.
as an instant, like, let's go, put my phone on airplane mode, and then we cut off. All right, so we're back, and let's just get right to it. We've got a couple pretty good articles to wrap up the year from Inman. I know Harry in episode 100 wants us to stay away from Inman, included 6 economists predicting the 2020 housing market, and then Brad Inman himself making a bunch of 2020 predictions, which we will say whether we think each of them are a racket or not. So, are you going
Sorry,
to stay with me, Nicole?
I
You
am.
sticking with us?
My computer is telling me it's gonna die, and I usually rely
Of
on you for the
course.
computer.
We've got a lot of first times here on episode 101, the way we're doing this episode. All right. First racket of the day is the 6 economists' predictions about the 2020 housing market. Couple of key things. They say supply and demand is going to continue to be a problem. I like that Inman highlighted, and this is a Marion McPherson article, which of course we'll link up below. I like that she highlighted there is lackluster. I don't believe that we have a supply and demand issue. I believe we have an issue with the supply that's currently available in most markets. Either it's overpriced, it's too much of a luxury item, or it's not where location or condition where the buyers want to see it in today's market.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, I think we've always talked about the fact that, especially because millennials are sort of coming into that lower end market, that, and again, sort of like that HGTV issue where everyone wants everything pretty. I mean, buyers want it all, they want everything pretty. And if you've been living in your house for 30 years and haven't touched your dark trim, it's a little bit of an issue for sure.
Yeah, and the 6 economists, Mark Fleming, first American chief economist, Daryl Fairweather, the Redfin chief economist, the Realtor.com chief economist, George Ratu, Len Kifer, Freddie Mac, Lawrence Yun, NAR, and then Jeff Tucker, Zillow. So these are all big name companies that we should be paying attention to as real estate agents in our industry. Their chief economists are the 6 individuals that Inman interviewed for this piece. And to your point, Nicole, they're talking about millennials a lot in here. They say the bulk of the millennials are going to be turning 30 in 2020, and that's a trigger age for people to buy. The millennials are people that are born from 81 to 97. So I'm closer to the older end of the millennials. Nicole, do you get in? I forget. We've done this before. Do you get in?
I'm
What do
81.
you mean? Yes, you're
I
81.
am. I'm
So
in.
according
I'm
to this
in.
piece, you're in with
I'm
the millennial.
in.
You are the godmother
I made
of the millennials. All right.
That's funny. Yes.
So the bulk of millennials are turning 30, or a lot of them. That's a huge range for me to believe that the bulk. They don't give an exact number there. But is 30 a trigger age for people, Nicole, or is that a racket?
No, I absolutely believe. Again, what's it really? So, as a godmother, I feel like our trigger age,
As the godmother.
the godmother. I mean, my trigger age was honestly younger. I was like 25, 26. I do think though it's interesting though because growing up, my parents always said, Nicole, like figure out what you want to do by the time you're 30. So I guess it kind of makes sense. Like you take your 20s to sort of figure your way out. You kind of have a little bit more leeway, but yeah, I mean, I do think that by 30, you're finally realizing that, I mean, you don't have your parents' health insurance anymore, and it's time to sort of
26.
step up and do your thing.
The other big one here, this is a huge prediction. 1 in 4 offers will go into bidding wars in 2020, these 6 economists say, where in 2019, we only saw 1 in 10 offers go to a bidding war. That one there really opened my eyes. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to see that. We're holding anywhere from 60 to 70 listings
Right.
within our team, Nicole and I,
Yep.
here locally in Connecticut. The other thing that could help like people like us in our market, even though they don't mention Connecticut, they mention secondary cities like Tampa and I think Charlotte, some of these different cities they mentioned in the article. But secondary markets are going to win. People getting pushed out of bigger cities, and they're going to go into these secondary markets on a local level. If you're somebody that's not in a big city, but you're in the suburbs or a smaller town that's say 1 to 2 hours driving distance to major cities, you could see a bump up in values as well as people start to get pushed out of their desired towns. So both of those predictions I thought were really good for the market. 1 in 4 offers receiving bidding wars. That gets a little bit crazy because some of the buyers that are on that lower end now can't afford the property that they maybe could have just last year.
Right. Right.
Right?
I think also to sort of piggyback a little bit that secondary market, it's interesting though too because I mean we've always talked about. I mean obviously we are in Connecticut and our market is very different than the rest of the country, but I do think that we've run into a few people though that are actually now coming to Connecticut or states that aren't as I'm blanking on the word, that aren't as competitive because they're then able to get jobs though too. So it'll be super interesting to see, what ends up happening. Like you're saying, like you're having to move out of these cities, but it's going to be interesting to see, sort of where the jobs start popping up too as a result of the housing as well.
Yeah, ultimately, jobs are going to drive it. They did mention wages have, improved a little bit. Not just jobs in a certain area, people are going to, uh, you know, go to those areas no matter what. They're going to follow
Right.
jobs. All right, let's get into Brad Inman's piece here for racket number 2. We'll go through the whole piece and every single prediction Brad made. We will say if it's a racket or not, if it's going to happen in 2020 or not. So here are Brad Inman's 2020 predictions. Number 1 ties into our racket, first racket of the day, a booming housing market. He says low interest rates, growing economy, and expanding housing inventory will supercharge an already robust housing market. Racket or not, Nicole?
Oh, come on. You can't go against it. You always have to hope for it, right?
Yeah, and I think the 6 economists that we just mentioned in the last piece certainly back that up. There is not much information counter predictive of this. So, all right. Racket number 2, skyrocketing homeowners insurance. He says the cost of homeowners insurance will become the number 1 real estate issue in many markets in 2020. Do you agree with that?
Well, it's super interesting because obviously, us being on the shoreline, we have seen this problem like for probably the last five or
Since
six
Superstorm
years.
Sandy,
Yeah, I mean, it's
7 years.
it's really been sort of an ongoing issue here. So I have to agree. I mean, I think that if you're not on a coastal area, but like you're
But
seeing
specifically,
flipping.
Do you think it'll be, his prediction was the number one real estate issue? Do you think that's going to
Number
be
one
the number one real estate issue for your clients in 2020?
for my clients.
Yeah, or across the board? I don't think so either. I disagree with this. Not only, certainly with what we're dealing with, because to your you made the point. Superstorm Sandy already put us through all of that here locally. Well, not locally where I happen to be right now, but locally in Connecticut, right? And I don't think this is going to be the number one issue. I look back to a rising market, affordability, being able to find a good quality product in the supply that's out there. I think that's going to be the number one issue, not the insurance. I think there's actually, it's just going to happen. The insurance is going to keep going up, and I think there's actually room there. Unfortunately, I don't want it to go up, but I do think there's room there in the affordability and for the insurance to dig into it, and they're going to have to.
I think
All right.
though, I think that agents though have gotten. I'd like to think they've gotten smarter though too, because I feel like before I'm even bringing a buyer to a property, I'm asking about sort of insurance quotes, so. For it to be the number one issue, I think that if you're doing your homework on the front end, it just won't even be an issue. But yeah.
All right, so he predicts a big IPO. He says Compass will file its S1 and go public in 2020. You think Compass is going to go public, Nicole?
I mean, this is more of your game than mine. I mean, I follow your lead on these
Hey,
things. I mean, I had to
we're
do the
documenting
IPO
this. We can look
first,
back on this
so
next year and see which one of us was right and wrong,
I'll go with him on this one.
You're going with Brad.
I am.
It certainly seems that way. I think, and he's predicting they'll file. He's not predicting that they'll actually go public.
He's also saying that a former Zillow exec will join the Compass team.
Right, right. I'm sure that'll happen. That's possible. Why not? I will say Compass is going to go public as well. I'll jump in on the train on that one with Brad. So we'll see what happens. They've certainly changed the way their agents have this compensation in terms of ownership within the company, which would tell you that they could possibly go public. There's some recent news on that. All right. Realogy's iBuyer program expands. Will it expand?
Yes, I believe that it will expand. I think many people's will expand, but yes, I agree with this one.
I agree. Everybody there will expand that has an iBuyer program in place today. Big retirements. So he's predicting the CEO of the Houston Association of Realtors and also the California Association of Realtors are both going to retire.
I feel like just because of this.
Do you know either of these guys, Bob or Joel?
I don't. I feel like now because of this article, they won't retire.
I
Like
agree.
Tom Brady, like everyone's like, is he going to retire? And as soon as people start predicting it, he's like, hell's no, I'm gonna keep going.
Bob and Joel are going to stick it to Brad, and they're going to together and pop a bottle of champagne on TikTok just to spite Brad Inman.
Well, you know what we should do? We should schedule that. We'll reach out to them. We'll tell them keep going.
Yes, keep going. If you guys don't want to do the work, send it to us like homework. We'll take a portion of your salary, and then we'll all retire together on January 1st. All right. His next prediction is the iBuyer market share surge. But here's what I want you to say. Is this a racket or not?
The 50% is
50% of all major U.S. real estate markets by the end of the year, all the major sales in these major U.S. markets are going to go through an iBuyer program of some sort. He's not pinning it to just one brand or one company, but as an overall market. Is that a complete racket?
Complete racket. Absolutely.
There's no chance.
There's still
no chance.
That don't even know what iBuying is. There's too many people in this world that don't even know that it's an option. No, that's way
zero chance it gets close to 50.
That's a racket. If there's anything
I think
that's a racket. It's that.
That is a racket, and I'll agree with you there. I'd love to see those numbers, which we will at the end of the year. A software shakeup. He's predicting MoxieWorks will acquire Boomtown or REW. I know a little bit about both of these companies, REW and Boomtown. Big shout out to the Boomers in down there in Charleston, South Carolina. Do you think MoxieWorks is going to acquire one of these two companies?
I have no idea.
I am going to say no to both. I don't think the boomers are going to sell. I don't know. Maybe they're building it to sell, but I think they're having a lot of fun building what they have right now. They've got an amazing company, amazing culture there. REW, I don't know. Maybe I'll give that a 30% chance, but I don't see either of these acquisitions if I'm just taking a guess. A Pulitzer Prize for fearless real estate reporting.
Yep.
A Pulitzer. A Pulitzer.
Pulitzer. Did you go on to
Pulitzer.
did you check out what it is that they did in Long Island? What this is all about?
No, I didn't. Did you?
I did.
I did not.
It looks super interesting. They went to Long Island. They followed, I think it was like 93 agents for 3 years, and followed how agents are discriminating against their clients. It will be quite interesting, and I'm sure eye opening.
All right, something I definitely want to check out, and
Sure.
I'm gonna go with Brad on this one. If he's watched it and he's signing off on the reporting, I'm gonna stand by him
I'll
and
go with him as well.
and give them the Pulitzer Prize.
Pulitzer? It's like Blitzen. It's not Blitzen. It's Pulitzer.
Pulitzer. All right, a squeeze on commission rates. I don't even think this should be in here. This is already done. This has happened. It's happening. It's going. He's saying it's going to accelerate.
He's been listening to the real word. That's why.
He's been listening to the real word. It's going to accelerate. It's already happening. It's over. So, and then finally, a historic name change. NAR will change its name to TRA, the Realtor Association. Something.
Well, I guess the only thing here that really pisses me off is didn't they just spend millions of dollars making the R like three-dimensional like not long ago, and now
It's true.
Completely changing the name?
Well, I would imagine the R is still going to be the logo, and now the name. Maybe they're trying to expand.
If you're doing a new name, you got to do a whole new logo. Come on, you know better than that.
They're probably trying to expand dues into Canada or something. I would imagine, or maybe Mexico. There's a new deal with those three countries coming out soon, I heard. So, all right, let's get into the Marketeer of the week. Good piece, Brad. I would advise there's some links in that piece that you can get more information, like the piece that Nicole's talking about from the Newsday journalists. Into our friends at Inman. Danny, thank you for forwarding this to us. We've got a Marketeer out of Las Vegas, and I'm going to say right now he's doing the best monthly market updates I have seen yet. He's killing it. It is deep. It's good. It's well produced, Nicole. He's in a studio. He's done his homework.
Yes.
Oh, he's got all kinds of stuff going on. The name of this gentleman is Bob Hamrick. He is the CEO, broker of the Las Vegas Coldwell Banker. He's got about 250 sales associates. I believe one of his made a really nice write-up on him. You can look him up. But more so, watch the video. We're going to link it up. Maybe Suave can play a couple seconds of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, he had updates on what's happening with the Raiders. I want to go to Vegas. I always want to go to Vegas.
The building, what they're building, how they're better than California. I mean, he even went as far as like comparing himself to other states. The only thing that bothered me was at the very beginning he called it like a minute update, and that shit's 5 minutes. So
hey, 5 minutes, minute.
Misleading,
There was so much good information in there. If you're somebody that's local to Las Vegas, there's no question whether it's the like bright lights of the Raiders or just the down and dirty real estate stats, you can pull something from it. Yes. So really good job. Link it up. Suave will hopefully play a little bit here in the real word, and send Inman and they'll forward them to us.
Please.
I mean, I would have never found out about Bob had it not been for this email to Danny.
No.
All right. Nicole, really good show. I feel warm. I feel very warm and fuzzy about it.
I feel really warm, and I feel warm about it too, except I'd rather you...
You're wearing a hoodie.
Not in my ears. I'd rather...
Not in your ear.
I'd rather... Yeah,
am I yelling too loud to be in your ear?
There's like a lot happening.
We got to get the headphones going. You don't love the headphones. We got to get the headphones going.
Well, Jill's like, you got to put on head, and I was like, what? She's like, no. But anyway, I prefer you next to me, but this is the second best thing.
You hear that, Jill? She prefers that I would be sitting next to her.
Yeah, no, she can't. No one can hear you except me in this room.
Well, tell Jill the joke after. All right, guys.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll be back next week. Keep it real.
Bye, guys.